China, Yang Hu, cut off his pee-pee because he was tired of being single. However, he immediately regretted his decision and rushed to the hospital to get it reattached, but he left it at home.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry, I'm gonna break it down for you guys, man. We talk about the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebook, anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. I just want to thank all my supporters, man, who's coming back to the channel each and every single day, watching the videos entirely, man, commenting down below, and most importantly, hitting that thumbs up button on each and every single video. You guys are helping grow the community. I greatly appreciate the support. Found this video for you guys today, man. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Seek the truth.
One of Jeffrey Epstein's victims was just found dead, and she allegedly took her own life. This was Virginia Giuffre, and she played an instrumental part in helping bring Epstein's crimes to light. And just today, she was found dead only weeks after being hit by a vehicle and claiming she had only a few days left to live. This was the photo that she shared on her social media after her accident, and her cryptic post alarmed people. So Virginia is deeply tied into the entire Epstein story. She was a victim of Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's early on, and she was actually recruited into their sex trafficking ring at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort. She was approached while she was working there by Ghislaine Maxwell, and eventually found herself being trafficked by her and Epstein. Now, Virginia's most infamous accusations were leveled against Prince Andrew from England, and she claimed that she was forced to do things with him when she was just 17. She also made a lot of different allegations about a lot of different powerful men, but we'll save those for another time. Virginia dedicated her life after coming out with all this information to fighting and advocating for victims of child sexual abuse and sex trafficking. And back in 2019, just one day after court documents were unsealed involving Ghislaine Maxwell and Virginia Giuffre, that was the day when Epstein was found dead in his prison cell. Let me know your thoughts on all of this. Obviously, my thoughts and prayers are with Virginia's family, but this is just absolutely horrific and shocking news.
What do you guys think, man? Too many eerie coincidences was lining up. She was a big part of that case, and then something happened. It's the math ain't mathing.
Does America have a new serial killer on the loose? Well, that's the question that residents of New England are asking after 8 bodies were found in roughly 8 weeks, all within driving distance of each other. 5 of the bodies have not yet been identified, but the 3 that were all women, and include 35-year-old Paige Fannin, who was found in a Connecticut river, Denise Leary, who is missing since September 2024, and Michelle Romano, who is found in Rhode Island woods. One Facebook group dedicated to the New England serial killer surged to over 65,000 members before having to be renamed, and Google searches for that phrase has spiked massively in early April. Even Jane Borowski weighed in, who is the survivor of the infamous Connecticut River Valley killer, saying that the body count is suspicious and warned women to stay alert. However, talk online grew so much that the police in all 3 states had to finally make a statement, and they all pretty much said the same thing. They say that there is no evidence of a serial killer, that there is no confirmed link between the cases, and that ultimately there is no active threat to the public. A forensic scientist named Peter Valentine said that some of the bodies may not even have visible trauma, and that speculating before autopsies have been complete doesn't help.
What do you guys think, man? Something going down in New England? 65,000 members, that's a lot, man. So people are obviously worried. Something going down.
These are the crazy things that are happening in the world right now. Kids today are running the mile 90 seconds slower on average than their parents did. A robotics company here in the United States is building robots using robots to build more robots. What? An artist was paid $84,000 to commission a painting for a museum. He sent back a blank canvas titled take the money and run. There was a blood drive held in Illinois called Bleed for Weed, where donors received a voucher for an eighth or 100 milligrams of an edible of their choice. As of this month, Amazon has removed the option to tell Alexa to stop recording you. DoorDash now lets you buy fast food and pay later. A babysitter who was checking under the bed for monsters actually found a man hiding under the bed. Over 4 million Gen Zers are jobless, and experts are blaming worthless degrees from colleges. A fake trucking company in Tennessee stole 80,000 pounds of meat worth almost $500,000. A US soldier actually paid hundreds of dollars to ship soil from Texas to Italy so that his son could be born on Texas ground.
A really strange story was the picture that came out of the Varana cruise liner, large ship that went down at the Atlantic Ocean in 2014, and nobody really knew why at the time. There were very few survivors of this, and the news kind of like mulled over this for months. They were doing deep dives onto the ship to look for very like sinister evidence and relics. Of those who did survive, they all kind of shared this very strange story because they claimed they saw something kind of unexplainable in the water. For a while, it just kind of continued as that. It was just a story. These things kept going on. Like, people kept diving down there, trying to collect relics, evidence, anything they could from the ship. And they found this. The phone of one of the passengers who died, and even though it was waterlogged for a long time, it was still semi-functional. On the phone, this was a photo that was apparently found, leaked from an evidence bank in 2017, and it's hard to refute what this picture is. An unexplained shot of just someone standing in the water, eerily enough taken on the same day the ship sank.
What the hell was that? Looked like she was levitating over the water.
10 fast facts about everyone's favorite cetacean, dolphin. Number 1, dolphins are some of the fastest animals on the planet and have actually been known to swim at speeds of up to 37 miles per hour. Number 2, dolphins actually have 2 stomachs, not 1. Number 3, they're some of the smartest animals on Earth and actually have been deemed to have a consciousness just how you and I have a concept of ourselves. Number 4, dolphins never chew their food at all. Number 5, they cannot be anesthetized because they actually have conscious breathing, and if you put them to sleep, they wouldn't be able to breathe on their own. Number 6, it's actually hypothesized they have unique dialects and specific names for each individual in a pod or family. Number 7, they can live for up to 60 years in the wild. Number 8, however, in captivity they only live for about 20 years at max, and most of the time it's much younger when they die. Number 9, they can get high off of pufferfish, and they do it quite often actually. Number 10, they can actually be gay, straight, or bisexual too, which is pretty cool. Go Pride.
Here are 4
Never knew
insane
that.
science facts, and they just get crazier. It takes light tens of thousands of years to leave the sun. People think it takes 8 minutes for light to travel from the sun to the earth, and that's true, but it takes much longer than that from when the light is released. Because the sun is so dense, photons, light released in the core of the sun, can't travel more than a centimeter without bumping into a charged particle and being diverted. So they bounce their way around the sun for tens of thousands of years before they finally escape the sun and start their 8-minute journey to Earth. The biggest confirmed star, Stephenson 218, is so big that if you were traveling in a plane going 1,000 kilometers an hour, it would take you 1,200 years to fly all the way around it. Meanwhile, it would only take you 182 days to orbit the sun. The outer part of the sun's atmosphere, the corona, has always been a mystery to scientists because it's 300 times hotter than the surface of the sun. The corona is about 3 million degrees Fahrenheit compared to about 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit on the surface. And scientists aren't completely sure why. It could be mini explosions or magnetic waves. Who knows? There are 96 bags containing urine, vomit, feces, and other waste on the moon. The 6 Apollo missions that landed on the moon left these bags there to make room in their spacecraft for lunar samples. And of course, they remain there to this day, and actually, scientists are really interested in opening them up and studying them.
What the heck? Clean up after yourself, astronauts, man. We literally on the moon now, too. We just can't stop ourselves.
Ruining Finding Nemo with science because I can and y'all can't stop me. Clownfish will eat unfertilized or damaged eggs, meaning Marlin would have sent Nemo to his mother, brothers, and any other past tense family. Clownfish are female dominated and they're sequential hermaphrodites, so when the lead female dies, the biggest male becomes the female and the second biggest guy becomes the guy. And in a clownfish colony, only the lead male and female mate with each other. It would have gotten real nefarious for Nemo. Male octopus, don't laugh, it's real. Male octopus have a special arm called the hectocotylus that is shorter than the others, and its job is to hand deliver reproductive reproductive ragu straight to the female. So when Pearl shows Nemo her special arm, two things. Pearl ain't a girl, and that is an indecency charge. The anglerfish that nearly sends them on a dinner date with Batman's parents is actually able to distend their jaws and stomach and swallow things physically bigger than they are. They stretch so much that one man went to the hospital after attempting to use an anglerfish's stomach the same way dolphins use beheaded fish or chimps used a frog that one time. Blue whales eat by taking in boatloads of water and pushing that water out with their tongue and eating any krill caught in their baleen. Blue whales have a tongue the weight of an elephant, and it would have crushed Marlin and Dory off the census and the sequel. Also, it would have been physically impossible for Whaley to shoot them off at Sydney, since a whale's mouth does not connect to its blowhole. Also, they don't shoot water out of there. It's just warm whale breath smelling like a century of tonsil stones and mummy morning breath. The more you know. I'm not sorry.
Facts you didn't know that could save your life
What
one
about
day.
shouters?
Now trust me, you're going to want to favorite this video because at some point in your life you might need it. If you are drinking a drink and suddenly it tastes salty, stop drinking it because someone has put something in it. If you ever see square waves in the ocean, get out immediately. These are powerful currents that can pull you under the water and kill you in an instant. Always hold your nose when jumping into rivers or lakes. This acts as protection against dangerous amoeba that will crawl up your nose cavity upon impact. If you feel like you're about to throw up, start humming. It is nearly impossible to gag while you're humming. If you're ever in a survival situation, only drink milk from the green coconuts. The brown coconuts aren't your friend because brown coconuts contain oils that cause dehydration. If your water smells like cinnamon, don't drink it. Some people often use this to cover up the scent of poison. If you ever get attacked or kidnapped, scratch your attacker. Their DNA will then be under your fingernails, helping the police to track and catch them.
He was giving us some gems, bro. Man, I always thought in the mom when you was always supposed to drink the barrel of coconuts, man. You know that's always in the movies and TV shows. But now you gotta drink the green ones? I guess that one's just pure water, and you said that one was oils. I never knew that, man. They try to set us up.
Here are some facts that you probably didn't know that one day could save your life. If your pupils don't dilate to the same size, there is a very real chance you have brain damage. A motorcycle helmet is stronger than a skull. Tea bags actually stop bleeding. They contain a chemical called tannic, which naturally clots your blood. If you're in the wilderness and desperately need water, you can take a plastic bag and hold it against the branch of a willow tree, and it will condensate drinkable water into the bag. Never put tools or heavy objects on the back seat or dash of your car. If you get into a crash, you might survive the collision, but these items could be the cause of your death. If you see vultures circling above you, chances are there's a predator nearby and it's about to make a kill. Grapefruits can actually mess with prescription medication, and the most common of these is birth control. So stay away, because trust me, you do not have the time for a grapefruit baby. If a canker sore in your mouth or tongue isn't going away after 2 weeks, you might want to get it checked out because it very well could be oral cancer.
And the more you know. I never knew that, especially with the canker sores, bro. Gotta be careful, man. Your body's
More
sending
terrifying
warnings.
ocean facts. So, basically, an Australian fish processing factory, someone was cutting open a 5.5 foot long cod and outrolled a human head, which we don't know who it belonged to or where it came from. Also, on an Australian beach, a shark head washed up, and you might think, oh, someone like cut off the shark's head. No, something bit and ate the entire rest of the shark, leaving just the head to wash up onto the beach. Also, there is a new type of sound called Julia's sound, which we don't really talk about, but it is just as mysterious and just as loud as the bloop, and scientists also have no explanation for what it is. Further, there's something called red tides, which are basically massive algal blooms that are so toxic and deadly they wipe out all marine life in an area. Even people are at risk of dying, and they actually make the air around them so toxic it's deadly to breathe in. Also, there's a type of marine parasite that invades organisms, basically turns them into a slave and drives them like a car until they lay their babies inside of them, and the babies eat the flesh of the host, because yes, the ocean just loves to behave like that.
That sounds disgusting, bro.
This video proves that skinwalkers are real. In the Navajo Native American culture, skinwalkers are believed to be shape-shifting witches that take the form of animals. And as the legend goes, these creatures are dangerous spirits. Many people in North America have reported seeing these skinwalkers in real life, and there's even movies and TV shows about them. There are hundreds of videos online claiming to have caught a skinwalker on camera. However, this home security camera footage caught something very disturbing. The video at first appears to be pretty normal, just showing a family's backyard pool. But if you look closely to the right of their basketball hoop, it appears that some strange-looking creature is climbing the fence to their backyard. The creature looks to have a humanoid-like torso, head, and arms. And all it does is just climb up the fence and look around the backyard. If we take a closer look, we can see that the creature definitely appears to look like a human being. And just a few seconds later, the creature vanishes.
Fascinating as fuck. This video shows a tunnel book from the year 1830. It's made of a series of paper panels placed behind one another, creating an illusion similar to today's virtual reality headsets. Ooh. This is a photo of Cheddar Man, a 9,000-year-old skeleton found in Cheddar, England. Scientists then tested its DNA and found that a living relative was teaching history just half a mile away where the skeleton was discovered. Salvator Mundi by Leonardo da Vinci is the most expensive painting ever sold. It's actually quite likely this wasn't by da Vinci, but after it sold in 2017 for $450 million, art evaluators kinda just went with it. A study in 2012 found that the majority of men and women in long-term platonic relationships shared some level of both physical and sexual attraction. So yeah, there's a chance she's into you, bro. A man in China, Yang Hu, cut off his PP because he was tired of being single. However, he immediately regretted his decision and rushed to the hospital to get it reattached, but he left it at home.
Bro couldn't take being single anymore, wanted to end it all. And he regretted it. And how did you forget to leave that at the house? People, man. Things they do to deal with loneliness. That's the new extreme.
Here are 3 weird feelings you have definitely felt before, you just haven't wanted to admit it, right? Like, you know when you see something really cute, like a puppy or a baby even, and you just want to squeeze it? Best way I can describe this is like, when you're hungry, you eat. You're not hungry anymore. When you're tired, you sleep. You're not sleepy anymore. But when you look at something cute, it's gonna stay cute unless you fucking kill it. Or you know how when you're up really high, you're just like tempted to jump? That's actually your brain working correctly. It's a survival instinct that just like misfired. Kind of like when you're driving and you're like, oh, I could just like turn into a tree right now. I'm holding this baby and I could just drop it right now. Your brain is telling you, don't do this thing by kind of like tempting you to do it. Or how you feel joy when somebody else is going through misfortune. Don't even try to deny it. It's not all the time, it's sometimes, but it's real. It's called Schadenfreude. And there's a weird little gratification that we get when people are going through cosmic justice, especially if we feel like it's deserved. I'm sure a lot of y'all felt it when I got canceled. But like this is the reason when people fall or spill something, or like those fail videos have millions of views.
Facts that could save your life one
like
day.
that.
If you are choking or having a heart attack, get out of your car. You can't signal anyone if you're unconscious in your car, but if you're draped over the hood, that'll be sending a distress signal. If your car is stuck on a train track, run in the direction of the train itself. If you run in the same direction that the train is traveling, it is more likely you're going to get hit by the debris of your former car. Don't walk downstairs with your hands in your pockets. When crying for help, try and call some specific people like, hey you in the red shirt, help, I'm being mugged. A lot of people will ignore a help call, so if you call someone specifically, they'll look at you. If people are really ignoring your help call, you can just try and yell fire because people are gonna come running to see stuff burning. Use this helpful rhyme to remember what to do in the event of facing each kind of bear. If it's brown, lay down. If it's black, fight back. If it's white, good night. Damn. Follow for more.
Out of everything I've ever put on this list, this is the 3rd scariest thing I've ever seen. This is a absolutely massive scuba diver marionette puppet that they submerge in water. Look how tiny it is in comparison to Bro. There's many different versions of them, but this is the biggest one and the most terrifying. And look how absolutely massive it is in comparison to these guys. I'm gonna show you a video at the end of it moving, and the way it moves is so freaking creepy as they dip it into the water. Sickening. Like in the video, its eyes are blinking and it looks extremely real and like an actual huge giant. They walk them through the city of Liverpool and like wave at people. Like this looks like it's out of a post-apocalyptic movie. This is horrifying. They have it on that giant crane. Why do they have to dip it in water though? Like why do they have to make it so mechanophobia coded? Like, I'm sorry, but this thing is sentient. This thing wants to end this guy. Like, look at those eyes. This one has a niece puppet that sits on its lap. Why is that human on there? You could not pay me enough. But yeah, watch this video of it moving and let me know how you feel. And where does this one rank for you in terrifying scale?
Check it out. Imagine a kid seeing that. That's pure nightmare fuel for them, man. They don't know what the heck that thing is. That's like it's a puppeteer, bro. I wonder where's that located at. You seen that going for a swim? It's gonna mess you up. Like, just imagine you going for a swim and you see that. It's gonna stop your heart.
The craziest things only billionaires can afford to do. So this woman, Michelle, did pool spa and maintenance. And she worked on this huge mansion for 3 years and never saw anybody there. So one day Michelle gets a call from her boss and he tells her to go to the mansion and put some pool floats away. It was actually Michelle's day off, but she didn't want to disappoint her boss, so she said yes. Michelle shows up to the mansion and the owner's kid is having a pool party. So Michelle walks up to him and says, "Sorry, it must have been a mistake. I was told to come put some pool floats away, but obviously since you're here, I'll just leave." The owner's son says, "Oh no, we're just getting ready to leave, so you can take the pool floats." So literally all Michelle did was grab 5 pool noodles and put them in the pool house. The owner's son thanked her and gave her $300, but that's not even the craziest part. The next day when Michelle shows up to work, her boss gives her $1,000. So Michelle tells her boss that the owner's son already paid her $300. It turns out the son told the owner how great of a job Michelle did. So the owner decided to give Michelle a $700 tip.
You won't believe this heroic animal story. This is a picture of Casper. Casper is a 20-month-old sheepdog who lives on a farm in Georgia. Casper's job is to protect the sheep that live on the farm, and he did just that. Just a few months ago, a pack of coyotes attacked Casper's flock, and being the loyal dog that Casper is, he killed all 8 of the coyotes.
What?
He was badly injured and rushed to the hospital. But luckily, Casper is expected to make a full recovery and is now a local hero. Way to go, Casper.
Hey, Casper, a legend, man. Shout out Casper, bro. Doing his job.
Things humans were never meant to see.
Across some footage that was shot in Hawaii. Now, it wasn't recently, it was about 4 years ago, but it definitely caught our attention. The video was shot by a father and a son who had come across a whale that had suffered a brutal attack.
What is that? Look at that. What is that?
Now, the original footage was kind of hard to make out, but after studying it and the amateur photos taken from the beach, you can clearly see a bite radius in the whale, and the bite radius is striking. From the vantage point of the kid's camera, the whale looks to be almost bitten in half. It's absolutely insane.
Dude.
Local marine biologists analyzed the whale and determined, as crazy as it sounds, that the tail was bitten off in one bite. Now, this is significant because the biting off of a tail is a specific trait of only a few underwater predators, the mako shark being one of them. But there's only one underwater predator that would be able to bite the tail off of a whale this size, like has been done here.
The Megalodon? That's the only thing that comes to mind, man. That's why I said the sea is one of the most scariest places, because we haven't fully, I guess, traversed to it. Something to think about. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support. Make sure you guys leave a thumbs up in this video, comment down below. Also, don't forget to hit that post notification bell so you'll always get notified when I upload my next videos. You guys are going to catch me in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.
Here's what people from 100 years ago thought the world would look like today. First off, they thought we would have automatic moving sidewalks. Next, they thought we would have roofs over our cities to protect us from the weather. And speaking about weather, they thought we would have weather controlling machines. Next up is video calls, which they actually did get right. Next, they thought we would walk on water with the help of balloons. Next, they thought we would have flying taxis, which I really do hope we get one day.
Oh. They was like 1 out of 5 of their predictions.
Here are some things that are completely normal during the day, but really creepy at night. Digging holes in your backyard. I mean, it's your backyard, and you're entitled to do whatever you want to it, but if I see you digging some holes in the middle of the night, I'm gonna be really concerned. Bonus creepy points if you have some trash bags next to you too. I feel bad for people who work graveyard shifts or are night owls, because it makes it difficult to do any gardening or landscaping without looking pretty creepy. They say a child's laughter is one of the most beautiful sounds in the world, but not if it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Scary movies have absolutely ruined the sound of a child laughing for me, because most instances, I'm gonna assume the worst. And for some reason, little girls laughing are even more scary. Like imagine being in the woods camping and you hear some little girl laughing in the distance. My brain isn't gonna think, oh cool, some family must be camping near us. No, I'm gonna think that I'm gonna get murdered or possessed by some demon. Someone knocking on your door during the day, it's annoying. Who the fuck is showing up at my house unannounced? It must be a salesman or worse, Mormons. That same knock at 3 in the morning? No, I'm getting murdered for sure. I'm on the 2nd floor and my only way out is to jump out the window, so I'm done for.
This is the most terrifying bathroom you'll ever see. The bathroom is located in a secret underground bar in Tokyo. And this horrifying face watches you on the toilet. Now, the inside of the toilet has special pressure sensors, so the more you do, the closer it gets to you. It will sing to you as it slowly moves closer until eventually it violates you. Watch this.
No way, man. Imagine you just on a crapper, bro, and a face. It's like slowly moving towards you, man. And it's weird that it senses like how much you crap and that's how it interacts with you. Some freaky things, man, in that underground Tokyo club, bro. We would not be going there. Take that off the bucket list.
These are disturbing Disney World facts. Up first, Disney's first water park called River Country closed permanently in 2001 after a crazy reason. An 11-year-old boy died from a brain-eating parasite he got in the water at the park. The park is still there, completely abandoned to this day. Next up, the actor who used to play Gaston at Disney World Orlando accidentally killed himself by attempting to shoot fireworks off of his head. Next up, Disney World is one of the most popular places on Earth where people scatter the ashes of dead people. It actually happens so often that the employees have a special code to use to report it for cleanup. Finally, in 2010, a restaurant manager at Disneyland Paris took his own life one day after working a shift. But before doing so, he left a note on the wall that translated to, "I don't want to go back to Mickey ever again."
Some dark facts, man, about Disney. Every company has them.
I'm gonna ruin your childhood, part 78.
Here we go.
In the movie Shrek, Lord Farquaad did something you probably didn't notice that will make you really mad. So in the beginning of the movie, you see Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and Baby Bear in these cages. But later on in the movie, in this scene, you see Papa Bear and Baby Bear, but where's Mama Bear? It is later revealed that Lord Farquaad turned Mama Bear into a rug in his room.
Damn, I didn't even notice that when I was a kid. We just gloss over
These
those
are
things.
abandoned places that you've never seen. These are Soviet space shuttles that have been abandoned for more than 30 years. Kashima, Japan was known for its underwater coal mine where over 5,000 people lived in the 1950s and was abandoned by the 1970s. This shack was abandoned after Hurricane Katrina and has been untouched since. This is an abandoned church in Greece that is now sitting at a 17-degree angle because of a landslide. This is a Japanese World War II airplane that lies wrecked in shallow water off the coast of Guam. This is an eerie yellow brick road from the Land of Oz abandoned theme park in North Carolina. A library in Detroit that was abandoned after closing in 1996. This is the factory that basically built New York City. This is an abandoned train track bridge in California from the late 1800s. This is an abandoned 1950s restaurant. This is a completely abandoned island castle in Ireland.
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. There are thousands of old diseases frozen in the glaciers of the world, and global warming will eventually release them all. If a person dies in their costume at Disney, like Mickey Mouse, they have to be sat down on a bench so it looks like they're resting. Climate change is making spiders bigger. Some female spiders allow their young to eat them alive. Tooth in the eye surgery is when surgeons put a tooth in a blind person's eye to restore their sight. It was pioneered in the 1960s, and it actually works, and it's still being done today. The chances of a successful CPR outside of a hospital is only 7%. Cell phones are 10 times dirtier than a toilet seat. When you suddenly wake up during the night without any reason, there was someone or something staring at you. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 12.
Who's staring at me at night?
You didn't know exist. First is the Gates of Hell. This is also known as the Darvaza gas crater. It's a natural gas field that collapsed. It was originally thought to be an oil site, but when they started preparing for drilling, it collapsed. And they expected the dangerous release of poisonous gas from this, so engineers decided to burn this off. And it was estimated that the gas would burn off within a few weeks, but it's been burning for over 50 years and there's no end in sight. These are the Mendenhall Caves in Alaska. They're formed as water flows through the glacier and creates a passageway. And the blue color of the ice is a result of the air squeezing out from the original ice and snow, causing the ice to absorb all the colors except blue. The glowworm caves in New Zealand. These caves are filled with glowworms that light up the top of the caves like a night sky. And you can actually walk through these caves or even take a boat ride through them.
Interesting places in the world I never knew existed. Especially about the first one, talking about the gates of, you know what? Is it still burning now to this day? He said like more than 50 years. I definitely want to check that one out, man. Something went wrong, bro. He must have did it on like a freaking haunted area.
This kid remembered his past life, and the story is shocking to hear. A 3-year-old boy began to say that he had been murdered in his past life. He said he was killed by getting an axe to the head, and strangely enough, on his head was a long red birthmark. Because of this strange coincidence, his family decided to take him to the village he said he was murdered at. When there, he pointed to the spot he said he was buried at. The family decided to pay for excavators, and when they dug up the ground, they found something shocking. There was the skeleton of a young child with a fractured skull. But it doesn't stop here, because the boy remembered the name of his killer and the address. So the family confronted him about this story, and he actually admitted to the crime.
Worst ways people
What
have
the
died,
hell?
part 3. In 2014, during a Mizoram Football Association match in India, Peter Bayak Zangzula scored a rebound goal after a free kick bounced off the left goalpost. He attempted to do a cartwheel, which he pulled off, but when he tried to do a backflip, he landed on his face awkwardly and broke his back. He was immediately surrounded by teammates and medical staff, but sadly he died 5 days later. In 2015, security footage from inside a mall in China shows Xiang and her 2-year-old son reach the top of an escalator when suddenly a floor panel collapsed, trapping Jiang in the moving escalator. She was able to save her toddler by throwing him out of the way, but she was sucked into the machine and it took rescue workers 4 hours to pull her remains from the cogs of the machine.
What the hell, man?
Here are 5
Those are
cute
just
animals that are
small
actually
ways
the
to
spawn
go.
of Satan. I'm about to ruin a lot of cute animals for you. Alright, let's start with the Emperor Penguin, because penguins are cute, right? Wrong! If the Emperor Penguin loses its children, rather than mourning and making more bundles of joy, this is how evil Emperor Penguins are, that they'll just go out and take another penguin's penguin to raise it as its own kid for about 20 minutes, and then it gets bored of it and abandons it. So basically, it took it just for the lulz. Evil! Next up we have dolphins, and I really shouldn't laugh at this, but these little shits can actually be really evil. For example, in Disney World, dolphins are actually kept separate, because these dolphins came up with a new game. It would catch a stingray in its beak, take it to the surface, and then skim it along the water like a rock. Evil! You may think koalas are cute, but these are actually some weird fucking creatures. Not only have they been known to be more aggressive than a crocodile, but also they make this sound. What in Satan's ringtone was that? Then we have a turtle's mouth and cats. Enough said. Share it in.
Animals, but
Here's some
Always
weird
thought those
things
were
that
cute,
happen
bro.
when you have a crush on somebody. You're gonna get butterflies in your stomach, or maybe it feels like your heart's skipping a beat. This is because of adrenaline, and it's just redirecting your blood flow, which can feel pretty weird in your body. The original design for this was to help us run away or fight something off, but when you see your crush, your brain interprets this as a high-stakes event, and even though it doesn't feel like it, it just wants to prepare you. Your pupils are gonna get huge. You don't even have to be talking to them. You can just be thinking about them. Your brain's gonna release dopamine. They're gonna dilate for 2 reasons. 1, it lets in more light. Your vision gets sharper. You're taking in all the details. And 2, it's a very subtle signal that can help somebody feel more like connected and attracted to you on like the most subconscious level. You're gonna
Really?
get addicted. Like hardcore drugs addicted, except to a person. But don't worry, people can totally handle this concoction of brain hormones in a healthy way. That's a joke, because, you know, when breakups happen, people act crazy because they're literally going through withdrawals.
This Canadian man was just scanning for free sports channels when he accidentally landed on North Korean state TV. And what happened next is wild. They sneakily watch the Premier League. Now, thinking he might get shut out, he quickly began recording the bizarre content playing. And he said once he started watching, he couldn't stop. Sounds about right. He then began uploading tens of hours of it to his YouTube channel for everyone else to watch. Bro was just trying to watch some free Olympics, but ended up feeding unseen North Korean TV to the entire world. Now, as for what program overnight is dead. You know, it's just these colored bars. But every day, the morning broadcast begins at 8 a.m. sharp with the national anthem and glory songs to former leaders. And for the rest of the day, it's kind of mostly stuff you'd imagine. Just hours upon hours of songs celebrating the country's greatness, stuff about wars, burning the American flag, and Kim Jong-un getting oiled up. Getting embroiled in conversations about the country's oil reserves. But there are some haymakers in there, like cartoons for children, and even a couple of movies scattered throughout the week, which genuinely look like it was made 50 years ago. No idea what the plotline is, but at the end, their coal mine gets blown up, and boy, Marvel has competition.
What the hell is that?
Oh, and another thing I didn't expect, they play Premier League highlights. No idea how they got the rights for that, but what are they going to do? Tell them to stop? Oh, it does look like they're still on last season as well.
Only 1% of people can finish this.
The Coal Mine Cinematic Universe confirmed. Imagine it, like you freaking. First of all, I don't know how you're trying to hack your TV, man. Trying to get some free channels and you come across a North Korea TV. The U.S. government might try to hit you up, bro. They're going to try to figure out how you did that. How you got into that secure access, bro. Be careful out there, man.
This video. The last one is just too scary. What did they catch in their fishing net?
The hell is that in the net? Is that an edit?
You can see if your phone is being spied on by clicking share, clicking more. And if you see this, delete it. What was in this man's ambulance truck?
I ain't never experienced nothing like this. I swear I seen a face in the rearview mirror. No, what the? No, hell no.
You woke up in the middle of the night and see 2 paths. Which one are you going to pick? Left or right? Let me know down below. An attacker tried breaking into this woman's hotel.
Who's outside the door?
She's
trying to get prepared.
All about the devil.
These are abandoned
Great
places
ideas.
you've never seen. These are Soviet space shuttles that have been abandoned for more than 30 years.
Seen that.
Kashima, Japan was known for its underwater
water coal mine where over 5,000 people lived in the 1950s and was abandoned by the 1970s. This shack was abandoned after Hurricane Katrina and has been untouched since. This is an abandoned church in Greece that is now sitting at a 17-degree angle because of a landslide. This is a Japanese World War II airplane that lies wrecked in shallow water off the coast of Guam. This is an eerie yellow brick road from the Land of Oz abandoned theme park in North Carolina. A library in Detroit that was abandoned after closing in 1996.
Wow.
This is the factory that basically built New York's.
Gotham Steel Factory. Sorry, man. We got to pause on that because that's just history, bro. Built New York City, man. Imagine if they just took down all those, you know, abandoned places and just put up some new land or something, man. That's just like empty space.
This is an abandoned train track bridge in California from the late 1800s. This is an abandoned 1950s restaurant. This is a completely abandoned island castle in Ireland.
The Max and Ruby hijacking. In March 2004, the creepiest thing happened when Max and Ruby was hijacked. Many people around the world still can't explain what happened that day. The show was going normal, but when Ruby calls Max, everything goes dark. It appears Max with no face.
Wait, Max.
Huh? Oh, no.
It then shows Max and Ruby standing next to a gravestone. To see a video of what happened to the children who saw this, comment show us if you want to see it, and I will show you.
Yeah, show us. We need to see this.
And at the end, with this cryptic message, the episode then turns to normal, as if nothing happened.
If you didn't see Longlegs, go.
Did that really happen? I mean, it must have happened so long ago, man. But damn, that really happened on Max and Ruby? Because, bro, I used to watch that show I think when I was a kid. I used to watch a couple of episodes of that. It's all in our media, bro. And I never even knew. I could have watched that episode and I could have just forgotten, man.
Oh wait, this is not for you. No, probably gonna spoil things, so just scroll away for this. For anybody who did see Longlegs, this is the horror movie of the year. So good. But the thing that got me was that even while I was watching, of course the devil is a huge theme of the movie. It's a big undercurrent, but I didn't realize that the devil is in almost every single shot of the movie. I went through some of the earlier scenes with Lee, and the devil is there, background of the frame. This one I thought was maybe more obvious because clearly Longlegs is in this shot. Again, if you look right behind the devil in the frame, the library scene where the shot is dead center, and there's a noise. It draws us directly to the location. I still didn't catch it. The devil is in the frame. Sometimes it's very obvious, it's right there in plain sight, but you still don't even catch it. Other times the devil is kind of shadowed or put into like a corner of the frame. They really did that in almost every scene of the movie.
I heard about Longlegs. Have any of you guys watched that?
Alright. They're born the same time, they're the same age. And now one of them, I will send off at 90% the speed of light. And the other I'll keep down here on Earth. So we can ask, how does their aging rates compare? Okay? Turns out, this twin that I've already sent, his clock ticks 44% as fast as this twin's clock. Our clock here on Earth. So, this twin is aging more slowly than this one. That's at 90% the speed of light. Let's pump it up some more. How about 99% the speed of light? Now the time ticks at only 14% the rate as it does back here on Earth. How about 99.9%?
Keep up with it.
We're getting closer and closer to the speed of light itself. And at that speed, the clock ticks only 4.5% as fast. So, what does this mean? Tell you what it means. This twin that traveled for 5 years and comes back, if they went at 99.9% the speed of light, after 5 years, they're 5 years older. We have aged 110 years.
Damn.
It's called the twin paradox.
Curtain number one.
Twin Paradise, okay.
These are some all of this was done without anesthesia. Just awful to think about. And I'm sure all of these were awful to think about. And I'm sorry, but that's why.
I'm going to show you possibly the biggest lie in history, at least if a lie could be measured by money. And that is because it is a lie two specific companies would love you to believe. Unfortunately, many say there may be nothing we can do to fix this lie. And the lie is that there is a world's richest person. Currently, this richest person is Elon Musk.
I'm about to say Elon Musk, right?
The darkest organizations want you to believe this. According to Forbes, people like Elon and Jeff Bezos are the world's richest people, but they can only list people whose assets are visible or public knowledge. Try as you might, there are people and organizations with assets so secret it is impossible to calculate their wealth. And since wealth is unfortunately power, this is a problem. For example, there is no way to know the worth of Vladimir Putin or the Saudi family. People can give estimates like saying they're worth $1.4 trillion, but this is nothing more than a guess. Knowing that assets can be hidden leads us to these two organizations, BlackRock and Vanguard. And there is good reason many people say these companies run the world. And the strange part is that both of these companies are the biggest investor of the other. For many, this is a massive warning sign, especially since they own a huge stake in all the major news networks. This includes Fox and CNN. And on a side note, they would seem to profit from the rhetoric that keeps us divided, along with having major sway in what the networks can say. Big Pharma, Vanguard owns huge shares in Pfizer. Oil and gas, they hold Shell, even Microsoft. And the scariest part is that they hold majority voting power in many of their investments. So who is the owner of them? They are so heavily invested in each other, it's strange to call them two companies. A quick Google search and a legal probe will show you that nobody actually knows who owns them. And because the organization is private, nobody knows who is a member of the company, though Vanguard has said that BlackRock has a unique company structure, which doesn't sound sketchy at all. There is one very public figure, however, and this is Larry Fink. He loves working at deep levels in the government and has no political affiliation because he will go wherever the money flows. He tried being the secretary for Hillary Clinton and was brought on as an advisor for Trump. He plays both sides. We saw this as he tried for the position of secretary for the Biden administration. So with all this mystery around the BlackRock Vanguard group, who is the richest person? If we go back in history, we can see that the Rothschild family is one of BlackRock and Vanguard's biggest holders. And conspiracy theorists have had a heyday with the stories of this family over decades. Other shareholders include the Bush family and even the royal family of England. So though we may know the families tied to these organizations, we may never know who runs them. And these shady individuals clearly have a reason they want to keep it that way. Welcome to the Gleek.com channel as we reveal more about the world of money and crypto.
The world. Gate to Hell, Turkmenistan. It's been burning for past 40 years, and no one knows when it's going to stop.
Lake Natron, Tanzania.
Due to high levels of salt contents, everything that touches the lake turns to pure stone.
Surprising facts about every single country in the world, part 31. North Korea doesn't tax, it exists. Argentina once had 5 different presidents in 2 weeks. Bulgaria, no army ever has ever captured the Bulgarian flag in battle. Czechia is the most atheist country in the world. Israel developed voicemail technology.
This mother listened as her daughter was mauled by a bear. On August 2011, a 19-year-old Olga Moskolyova went fishing with her stepfather at a river in the village of far eastern Siberia. This area is known for its significant bear population and it's home to one of the largest brown bears in the world. On this day, Olga called her mother and told her that she was being eaten by a bear. At first she thought her daughter was joking, but then she heard the bears growling and chewing and she realized that this was real. Her mother then called her husband, which is Olga's stepfather, but little did she know he was already deceased. The story is that they were done fishing and were on their way back when they realized that they forgot something. So they walked back to the river and came face to face with a brown bear and her cubs. Olga's stepfather was attacked first and Olga tried to run away, but the bear caught up to her. While Olga's stepfather was already deceased, the bear came back several times minutes to attack Olga until she was dead. But during the attack, Olga was able to call her mother 3 times, and during this call, she told her that she was being eaten by the bear and her cubs. She then ended the conversation by telling her mother that she loved her. The mother called police, and they arrived to the location in about 30 minutes, and they found the bear still eating her husband's body. Like I said, this area is known to have a lot of bears, so people usually bring protection with them, but it was said that Olga and her stepfather did not.
Facts that will blow your mind.
This is a tragic story, Seekers, man. You're getting eaten alive, and you're calling your mom, and your mom has to hear that. That's just devastating, man. To have the willpower, man, you're getting eaten alive by a bear to even make those calls, and she said 3 times. She's a strong person.
Humans are the only animals that enjoy spicy foods. Potato chips cause more weight gain than any other food. It's impossible to hum while you hold your nose. The least interesting day in history was April 11th, 1954. Aldous Huxley and C.S. Lewis died on the same day as JFK. Bigger forks lead you to eat less. The longest living insect is the termite. Chewing gum after a meal reduces heartburn. Dogs can smell cancer. Bees can detect bombs. Follow and comment below which fact blew your mind.
That dogs can smell cancer and bees can detect bombs? What the hell?
Places that look more creepy at night.
Country roads at night. Dangerous place. Playground at night. Some stuff go down there too.
Through the window, by the window, that's where I'll be. Come tiptoe through the tulips with me.
That was an edit. You gotta spot them out, man. When we see the edits, call them out. Especially, like I said, you can call them out down below, man, because I might miss some edits too. Let's help each other out, man, in this community.
Urban legends that turned out to be true, part 3. A guy is passed out on the bus and everyone leaves him alone, assuming that he's sleeping as the bus makes its rounds, until the driver checks him at the end of the shift to discover he's dead. In 2011, Robert Young and Mark Rubinson arrived at their friend Jeffrey Jarrett's house to find him passed out, so they decided to load him into the car. The only problem is he was dead in the back seat the whole time. A woman goes to sleep and wakes up with a pain in her ear, only to find out the pain was caused by bugs that had nested in her skull. And in 2013, a woman named Rochelle Harris returned home after a vacation in Peru, where she started hearing scratching noises in her head. She started experiencing pain and finally decided to go to the doctor after a fly flew out of her ear. The diagnosis? A family of 8 flesh-eating maggots had nested deep in her ear canal.
I walked out of the theater after seeing Saw X and decided I need more. So here's 3 horror movies you need to watch, especially if you like Saw. First up is this absolutely insane movie called 31, about 5 carnival workers who get kidnapped by crazy killer clowns and forced to play a deadly game called 31. If I had to describe this movie in 2 words, it would be weird.
31. I guys know, because I'm kind of not big on horror films, but you said she got inspired after seeing Saw. Isn't that like a psychological thriller though? I guess with horror mixed in there as well. The Collector.
As well, so follow for more.
Here's some of the scariest unknown creatures caught on camera, part 6. This drone footage captured in the deep parts of the Salt Fork Park in Ohio captures what may be evidence of the elusive Bigfoot. As the drone begins to land, pay attention to the thickets and tell me what you think.
Okay. Definitely saw some in the corner. Bigfoot, was he confirmed, man? You guys know we've seen a lot of sightings or Bigfoot and Sasquatch, but nobody has really able, I guess, been to, like, you know, hunker down and really confirm if it's true or not. That could just be like a different type of animal roaming the forest, or guy in a costume, man. We never know. That's interesting, though. See if I can find some more footage.
Homeowners. I don't know about you, but I've grown tired of that feeling you get every month waiting for the delivery of the electricity bill. Like many of us, I was fed up of the constant price hikes and the feeling of hopelessness when my electricity bill arrived every month. I felt like I had no control over what I was being charged, and I searched all over to find a solution. That's when I decided to take control of my energy costs. I reached out to a consultant at Zephytech who introduced me to their T1 Powerwall battery. At first, I was skeptical. Why would I need a solar storage system when I don't even have solar panels? But after a quick 10-minute phone consultation, everything clicked. The Powerwall can be charged at night when electricity is cheap at 9p per kilowatt hour. This means that I can store inexpensive energy at night and use it during the day when the electricity rates are higher. Since installing the Powerwall, my electricity bill has been dramatically reduced even without using solar panels. The service and support team from Zephytech has been outstanding. So much so that I decided to take the next step in my renewable journey, and I'm planning to add solar panels to my setup to aim for a zero
electricity bill? Something we should all be aiming towards.
Here's some of the most random fun facts you will ever hear in your life.
I'm about to check that out.
Armadillo shells are actually bulletproof. One time a man was hospitalized when he shot at an armadillo and the bullet ricocheted off the shell and hit him instead. There's only one letter in the entire alphabet that isn't in any US state name, and that letter is Q. There's not a single state with the letter Q in its name.
Really?
71% of the earth is covered in water, and humans can only use 0.007% of that water. 2.5% of the total water is fresh water, and only 1% of that is actually accessible. The bumblebee bat is the smallest mammal in the entire world. These things can rest on your fingertips, and you might not even know because they weigh 0.05 to 0.07 ounces. Ostriches are the world's largest and heaviest living bird. That's why they can't fly, but they are built for running, and they can reach speeds of up to 43 miles per hour, and they can pretty easily coast at 30 miles per hour. The longest English word is 189,819,000 letters long. It's a protein and its nickname is titin, and it would take around 3.5 hours to say the word out loud.
He murdered his great-grandmother for $133. In 2012, 13-year-old Antonio Barbo and his best friend Nathan Papp both murdered his great-grandmother in the most horrific way. On that day, Antonio's mother drove the kids to her grandmother's house, 78-year-old Barbara Olsen, but she had no idea what they were about to do. The two teens tried to sneak into Barbara's house, but then she heard them, so she invited them inside. Once Barbara turned around, her great-grandson hit her with a hatchet. Barbara was hit 27 times and had wounds all over her hands and arms, indicating that she tried to defend herself. The teens stole Barbara's jewelry along with $155 and then used that money to buy drugs and pizza. They tried to drag Barbara's body into her car, but when they couldn't pick her up, they just left her in the garage. Barbara's body was found 2 days later by her own daughter, and the boys were arrested not long after. Nathan argues that he thought Antonio was just joking about murdering his own great-grandmother, and he only participated because he was afraid that Antonio would turn on him. Antonio's grandmother, who's also the victim's daughter, spoke out and said that her mother was not a vindictive person and she would have wanted Antonio to have another chance at life. And Antonio's defense really tried to argue that he had a brain injury back in 2009 and that's the reason he did what he did. But none of that mattered because both of these teenagers were sentenced to life in prison and are eligible for parole in 2048.
For some money, man. I tell you, bro, money. It's the root of all evil, bro. For $155, and their lives are over.
These are things that don't exist anymore. Up first is Heinz Purple Ketchup.
What?
I've never had this or even seen it, but I heard it was really good and everybody liked it. Next up are house phones. Everybody had house phones back in the day, but once cell phones started to blow up, these kind of went outdated. Yes, I know some people have them, but not a lot of them do anymore. Next Next is cursive writing. Kids nowadays can't even read cursive writing and can't even write in cursive. The only thing that is cursive now is signatures.
Yep.
When I was growing up, they made us write cursive and learn it. But nowadays, they just don't.
I remember, yeah, growing up in the lower grades, we used to learn cursive, but they stopped doing that.
What is the number one thing that people say they regret before they die? So the following is according to a nurse who spent several years caring for patients in the last 12 weeks of their life. So regret number 5 on the list is that I wish I'd let myself be happier. Regret number 4 on the list is that I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. She said that many had become so caught up in their own lives that they had forgot their golden friendships and let them slip by as the years went on. Regret number 3 is I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. Now regret number 2 is that I wish I hadn't worked so hard. She said that this came from every male patient that I nursed. They had missed out on their children's youth or their partner's companionship. And regret number 1 was that I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life that others expected of me. Most people had not even honored half of their dreams, and that they had to die knowing that it was due to the choices that they had made or not made.
Follow your dreams, seekers, man. Don't know, maybe they tell you different.
Tiptoe through the window, by the window, that's where I'll be. Come tiptoe through the tulips.
What the hell?
With me.
The most historic case that has ever taken place in DC history is probably one that you have never even heard of. One of the scariest cases that I've read in a long time. This is the very true story of the Freeway Phantom. In the 1970s, there was a man in Washington, D.C. who people named the Freeway Phantom because he had one very specific MO. He was only going after young black girls and women. He was abducting them off the street, and then their bodies would be found here, left and positioned right at the freeway. Actually, in the investigation, they profiled him as someone who was a textbook psychopath. He was repeatedly calling the families after he had abducted these girls, and he was breathing into the phone, and then he would say something like, "I just killed your daughter," and then hang up. Even left a handwritten note with the body of one of his victims. If you want the full story on this, we are going to cover it on the show. Mysteriously, in the 90s, all the records on the case vanished.
This pedophile funeral director invited another man to come smoke meth and abuse a corpse with him in a funeral home in England. This story is extremely disturbing, so viewer discretion is advised. Meet Nigel Robinson Wright, who was 42 at the time of his arrest. So online, Nigel had a completely different life than in person. In the real world, Nigel was overseeing funerals and helping people deal with the process of death and grief. But online, Nigel frequented pedophile chat rooms. He egged people on who were essaying animals. He chatted with people about his arousal with dead bodies. And he even offered to show up to a man's house who offered him his own toddler to abuse. So these chats eventually got so extreme that they were turned over to the police. And when the police went to Nigel's house, they confiscated all of his electronic devices, and that's where they found some very disturbing things. There were all sorts of different pornographic videos found on Nigel's devices, videos that involved animals, dogs, children, and yes, corpses. So Nigel was seeking out all of this violent, extreme material on the internet, and even commissioning other users to create this content for him. And in those chats, the authorities discovered Nigel and an acquaintance talking about their previous time spent in the funeral home that Nigel managed. Yes, some of these chats were extremely graphic and involved doing things with dead bodies that humans should never be doing. And they talked about how they had done other things all throughout the funeral home, in the chapel, on the benches, everywhere. So at the end of the day, Nigel was sentenced to 17 years in prison. I don't think that's nearly long enough of a sentence, but yeah, he's gonna be out, in a decade or so. And judging by this dude's twisted mind and his past on the internet, I definitely don't think it's gonna be safe to have him back out in society.
Here are some creatures you should be glad.
Surely.
The Gigantopithecus holds the record for being the largest ape to ever live. They grew to be around 10 feet tall, weighed over 1,200 pounds, and lived in what is now southern China for 6 to 9 million years. They eventually went extinct at the beginning of the Pleistocene ice ages around 100,000 years ago. Scientists believe that this primate walked on all fours like modern apes do, while others believe that they walked with a bipedal or human-like motion, but there is no way to tell who's correct. Due to the way their teeth and jaws were constructed, They had the ability to crush, cut, and grind down almost anything, including very tough and fibrous foods. With all this in mind, this is not an animal you would want to come across in the jungle.
Wouldn't. Sounds like they're gonna grind your bones to dust.
This delivery person has quite the imagination. In fact, he hates his job, so he came up with an idea to make it more interesting. Look at how he delivers his packages. He attached a hoverboard to the back and a wheel to the front so he can move around like a car. And the best part is that he can place his bag on the wheel. He thought of absolutely everything. Beautiful.
Here are the worst
Truly,
mistakes
he did.
ever made by teachers. Part 3. When it comes to discussing serious topics in the classroom, like the slave trade, the teacher should talk about it with care and sensitivity. But a social studies teacher from the Bronx named Patricia Cummings didn't do this. She had black students lie down on the floor as a demonstration, and allegedly stepped on at least one student's back. She was, of course, fired, but she decided to sue the New York City Department of Education for $120 million. Next, an elementary school teacher from Wales named Elizabeth Davies was in charge of a group of students that had a good number of Bangladeshi students, and she complained that those students constantly smelled of curry and would spray them with air freshener. Needless to say, she was let go. And a teacher from Florida was so fed up with the disruptive students' behavior that she taped the student's mouth shut. She then tried making a point that what happens in her classroom stays in her classroom. Except then this story hit the local news and it became a sticky situation for her.
Why do teachers think they could do, or some teachers think they could do things like that, and they just think they're gonna avoid the consequences, man? Like, they're kids, but obviously they're gonna tell their parents or friends. Somebody's gonna find out. That first story is crazy, man, how she made those kids demonstrate that. And then she tried to sue them for money. People be trying to sue you for the wrong things. There's this guy. Listen at it.
Words of Satanists before dying. Aleister Crowley. I am perplexed. Anton Lavey. Oh my, what have I done? There is something very wrong. David Hume. I am in flames. Voltaire. I am abandoned by God and man. I will give you half of what I am worth if you give me 6 months of life. Sir Francis Newport. Oh, that fire. Oh, the insufferable pangs of hell. Thomas Paine. Stay with me. For God's sake, I can't bear to be left alone. Oh, Lord, help me.
These are the world's freakiest land animals. In 2022, a TikToker named Caustica uploaded a video that showed a weird-looking creature running around his backyard. Once the video went viral, wildlife experts took to the comments to explain that it was a lesser blind mole rat. And this is because of how its tiny eyes are nearly tucked under its skin. They spend most of their time underground creating tunnels with their massive teeth. In 2020 in British Columbia, a woman was walking around when she saw a bug that looked like a tarantula with wings. She then shared a photo of the bug to Facebook, where wildlife experts explained that this was a very big moth called a polyphemus moth. These moths have huge bodies, and despite their scary looks, they don't have mouths to bite. And they have a lifespan of about 2 weeks. And in 2024 in Sydney, Australia, a TikToker named Blonde heard a weird tapping sound coming from her window at night, and she went to investigate. And what she found is like something out of nightmares. At her window, a bat was tapping on the glass, trying to find a way to escape the storm. And it stayed around until the next morning, where Blonde had to call a bat expert to come remove it. But this turned out to be a non-aggressive species of a bat known as a flying fox. And they only eat fruit or flowers. They also struggle to keep warm when they're wet, which explains why it was at her window. Now I just feel sorry for the little guy.
This skier is about to do something terrifying. In fact, he's a world champion in skiing, and during his competitions, he developed a unique technique to go much faster and especially much further.
Sorry, but I'm number one.
Gliding. Like a Batman or something.
The whole Nickocado avocado situation is completely fake and driving everybody insane. At least that's what a lot of people are saying on here. Let me explain. So yesterday I'm sure you saw this video where he revealed himself finally after a few months of not being active. And of course the majority of you remember him like this over the past few years making content across various platforms.
Yep.
People are going crazy saying, how the hell is it possible he lost this much weight in between 2 and 7 months? Is it Ozempic? Is it, I don't know what's going on. Which has led many people to believe that these are actually all pre-recorded. Because this is what he used to look like 8 years ago. So people are saying that basically all that time ago he pre-recorded all of these videos ready to put them out and basically prank everyone. Especially many people cottoning on to the fact that he has this bird in this video, which he had a long time ago and apparently the bird died. But he said he got a new one. However, this video that he posted yesterday was of the Charlie XCX apple dance, which obviously is a new trend, so how would this be pre-recorded? And he said it's not been 2 months, he's basically pre-recorded these videos over the last couple of years during his transformation. So all the content the last couple of years was pre-recorded, and the stuff now is finally the real him. It's definitely interesting, and I mean, congrats to him for losing that much weight, it is crazy. And as always, hit that follow button, and I'll keep you updated.
This is the scariest...
That Nickocado situation, it was actually insane, man. Saw it trending. But if he actually was freaking pre-recorded those videos for years and was working on his transformation, like his video said, he really was 2 steps ahead. That's insane, man. He lost that much weight. But to put your body through that, I couldn't do it.
Story about the bath. Jennifer was sitting at her desk in her room. She was finishing up her homework when she suddenly got a text from a number she did not recognize. The text message said, "Take a bath and go to bed, it's a school night, Mom." Jennifer thought her mom's phone died, and she used somebody else's phone to text her. She already planned on taking a bath, so she undressed and grabbed a towel and walked into the bathroom. She stopped in her tracks and was surprised that the bathtub was already filled. "I guess my mom filled it in advance," she said. She then shrugged her shoulders and got in the bathtub. When she was in the bathtub, she became aware of a burning sensation all over her body, and it got worse and worse until she was crying. She then jumped out of the bath, but it was too late. The water was blood red, and the skin on her arms and legs were beginning to peel off. She was dripping blood and skin. She then picked up her phone to call the police, but there was a new text message waiting for her. It said, "Next time, bathe in water." Jennifer then heard laughter behind her, and standing there was a man holding an empty container of sulfuric acid.
Oh.
Before hiking this trail, there is
Careful.
a warning sign that states if you have difficulties passing through the 2 posts, you should not continue. People have been calling nature fat-phobic and that it should be widened for plus-sized people, but the sign is warning people that the canyon is very narrow to avoid anyone getting harmed. What do you think?
These are human body parts
Fat-phobic?
that may disappear in the future. First up is body hair. Originally, it protected ancient humans from harsh weather conditions. However, over time, with modern clothes and changes in environmental conditions, human body hair has significantly decreased and continues to do so. Many scientists believe it might eventually completely disappear. Next are wisdom teeth. They used to serve an evolutionary purpose for ancient humans who had much rougher diets and needed more chewing power. But our diets have softened and our jaws have become increasingly smaller. As a result, they have no space to properly grow in, and many people need to have them surgically removed. Many babies are now being born without wisdom teeth, and scientists believe this will eventually be the standard. Finally, we have male nipples. Everyone starts as female in the womb, and before the Y chromosome kicks in for males, nipples have already formed. When the baby becomes male, the prolactin levels decrease, making the male nipples non-functional. So while it's debated, some scientists think they'll disappear.
No more male nipples? That's freaking a crazy image to think about, bro.
Here's a list of historical facts that will mess with your perception of time. The last execution by guillotine in France happened after the first ever Star Wars premiered. What? The corporation Nintendo, that was formed the same year that Starry Night was painted. By Vincent van Gogh. The Roman Empire fell in 1453. And America was discovered 40 years later in 1492. Those 2 points in history are miles apart in my head. In 1861, Italy became an official country. And in 1886, Coca-Cola was invented. They were probably serving Coke at the 25-year anniversary of Italy itself. Rosa Parks and Harriet Tubman, both prominent female figures in the civil rights movement, were alive during the same time. Like for a few months, but that's still crazy. In 1686, Isaac Newton came up with the 3 laws of motion. And in 1692, the Salem witch trial started. We were doing so well with science. And then we were just like, oh no, women are witches actually.
We were just getting some tragic news that 17 students have just been killed and 13 others have been seriously injured after a fire broke out at a school dormitory in Nairobi, Kenya. And that number is sadly expected to go up, as there are still another 70 children missing. Now, we do not know what caused the fire yet, but what we do know is that there were more than 150 kids in the dormitory when the fire broke throughout the midnight. And the reason it was so deadly is that most of the buildings in the school are made out of wood, so it spread rapidly. The average age of the victims is only 9 years old.
John Chow hired 2 fishermen to take him out to this little island in the Indian Ocean. The next morning when the sun came up, John asked the fishermen to take him in a little bit closer, but the fishermen refused. So John puts a kayak in the water and he begins paddling into this island. He sees someone come out of the forest who has their face painted yellow. They all start looking at each other and they start screeching and running down the beach towards John. John stands there until they come all the way up to him. They don't shoot him with arrows, but they take his kayak. And then at some point, a child pulls his bow and arrow out and fires a bow directly at John. And he was holding a Bible, and he stopped the arrow with his Bible. And at that point, John is like, okay, I gotta go. And he jumps in the water, and without a kayak, has to swim a mile to get back to the fishing boat. And so the next day, he told the fishermen he wanted them to drop him off, and he would swim in, and he wanted them to leave and be completely out of sight. And so the fishermen drop him off, and they leave. The next day, when the fishermen come back to collect John, they see these people dragging his body by a rope. No one knows exactly what happened to John, how they killed him, but it's too dangerous for anyone to go back and retrieve his body, and so his body remains at North Sentinel Island. The few hundred people that live on North Sentinel Island that were responsible for killing John Chow, they're referred to as the Sentinelese, and they are unbelievably primitive. The Sentinelese want only Sentinelese on that island. No one else can be there. If you're not a Sentinelese and you try to go to their island, they'll...
Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support, man. Like I said, guys, make sure you guys comment down below. Helps out the video. Also, hit that thumbs up button. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to follow me on my social medias down below. Guys, can catch you in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.